This is a great one, especially for the women. So, are lifting weights going to bulk you up? And firstly, let's just clarify that personal appearance is just that. It's personal to you. So, what might be super bulky for one person might be nice and lean for another person. But when we talk about bulky in this sense, we're often talking about women, first of all, and we're often talking about it in a negative sense. However, the actual definition of bulky looks different to everybody. Usually, you mean looking like Arnie. This just isn't going to happen to you, so don't worry about that. Women simply don't have the same hormonal profile as men and therefore cannot gain the same amount of muscle as men without the addition of extra help, such as testosterone in whatever form that might be. So firstly, gaining significant amounts of muscle doesn't happen overnight. You don't wake up one morning, you have some spinach, and boom, your muscles burst like Popeye. That's just obviously not how it works. But at some point, I would say potentially about a year, you may have gained enough lean muscle mass for your personal preference, and transitioning into a maintenance phase might be better for you in terms of your food and your training. But I wouldn't say that after a few weeks, any woman is going to be at the point where they say, I'm looking too muscly now, I don't want to lift any more weights. And then the one that nobody really likes to hear, it really does depend on you. It depends on the person, your individual biochemistry, your body type, your previous training history, how long you've trained for, what type of training you're doing, how frequently you're doing it, and also your diet as well. Because if you're doing all this training but you're not matching it with the protein, then the results are going to be slower. Whereas if you are ramping up the protein and you're not ramping up the training, then again, results might slow down. So it really depends on all these things. And there have been a lot of studies into this, but the majority have either been on men or postmenopausal women or women with different health conditions, because that's just where the research is. So it's really, really verging on impossible to actually assume or presume how much lean muscle mass a woman can expect to gain when she starts weight training. And that applies to even resistance training. So those of you who are doing the home workouts with resistance training, it also applies, but to an even lesser extent because you are lifting less than if you were obviously pumping iron in the gym. Really remember, it doesn't happen overnight, It depends on all those different factors. And just know that all these women who look like Arnie have made a conscious effort to do so. They didn't just wake up one morning and think, oh God, how did that happen? They're really, really focused on that, and it's been super hard for them to get there. Another misconception that we often have is when we first start weight training, we're obviously building muscle and we haven't quite yet lost the fat that surrounds the muscle. Body fat takes up more space per pound than lean muscle mass does. So let's say you lose 5 kilos of fat and you gain 5 kilos of muscle, you're going to weigh the same, but you will be smaller in your frame. And when you start, you often think that you're getting bigger because the muscle gain happens quicker than the fat loss. Think of when you've just trained, you feel that pump, so whether it's in your arms or your legs or wherever it might be, that's the muscles already firing up and getting ready to grow. You can't possibly say the same for your waistline in the opposite direction when you eat some kale. We would literally waste away if that happened because we would have to be eating all the time. Another note on that too is that when we first start weight training, because the muscles grow faster than the fat reduces, if you think of your muscle and then the fat surrounding it, your muscle's getting bigger and the fat's still there. So actually you're thinking, why am I getting bigger? But actually you are getting bigger, but then the fat reduces and then you're left with a toned appearance. Hopefully my fingers model that example well for you. But that's the thing as well, that a lot of people then begin to believe myths like you shouldn't do spinning because it makes you bulky. But actually, yes, it does build your legs and it will reduce the fat because it's burning calories, but the fat around the muscle on your legs takes a lot longer to reduce than the muscle growing. So hopefully that clears up that one for you. So to summarise, no, lifting weights will not make you bulky. You can always scale it back. And this is also a reason why we do photos, because if for 1 week you look at your photos and think, I don't like how big my muscles look there, we can just scale your workouts back and you do slightly less on that body part. Absolutely no problem. It's great when you can see it black and white and you can look at it from that objective standpoint. Benefits of lifting weights should have been obvious from what I've been saying, but also include a major confidence boost. You can really focus on that positive performance-based goals, so it's not just what I look like, what I look like, what I look like. You're gaining the lean muscle mass, which makes you a healthier human being in general. It increases bone density. You'll be stronger in your actual daily life, so simple things that you might not even realise, like carrying the shopping, lifting heavy things, carrying your kids, carrying the baby. It all helps. It's so much more enjoyable than staring at a wall on a treadmill or cross trainer, and it just really empowers you. So lift your weights. Definitely don't worry about turning into the Incredible Hulk. Monitor your progress and you will get leaner, stronger, and feel way more empowered.